This video's a parody. Just have fun with it.
Seems you couldn't make it to my show, so I brought the show to you. It's time to take your final bow.
Alright, hello random strangers. Today we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite fox with lipstick and an exaggerated vibrato, Funtime Foxy, and how she may actually be the secret mastermind of the franchise. Strap in, because this one's going to be a wild one. Most people, myself included, for the longest time assumed that Baby was the ringleader of the Funtime animatronics. I mean, her literal character design is a ringleader mixed with a jester. She's the daughter of the main villain of the series, practically a sidekick in the novels, and she's an even greater evil named Eleanor in the short stories. Plus, she's the one who gains Mike's trust through her whole convoluted scheme in Central Location to get him to go into the scooper. Right? Wrong! Now, notice how we never actually see Baby in any of the scenes where she's supposedly manipulating us. On night 4, she's nowhere to be seen at all, and on night 5, her eyes are missing and she's defective, or deactivated, or whatever. But more importantly, notice how she talks to every other character in the series. She's a mean bully control freak in the source code conversations with the rest of Ennard, and in Fnaf 6, she's a daddy's girl looking for approval from William, who's, a serial killer, so that means just kill a bunch of toddlers. And then, our first major clue that something's off in night 4 and 5 is how she talks to Michael, who she believes to be William. That's the main issue here. Remember, she wants William's approval. She wants to help him. So why is she calling him dummy, talking down to him, treating him like he's stupid? It's just so out of character for her. Now compare this to how she talks in night 3. She's unusually peaceful here. She's honest. I mean, she insults you in night 4, but the night prior doesn't hide anything. No secrets, just telling you about the first day she was on stage and how she killed Elizabeth. Now I really want to focus on this one line from night 4 and 5 about pretending, how she's so good at it that it's her honed skill and that she's proud of it and that none of the others ever learn, specifically Ballora in the context, but based on how it's described, we'd assume it's all of them don't really have the skill except for her. It's weird, because if she's so proud of it, why doesn't she use it again, or talk about it again, or ever reference it in any of her later lines? Scrap Baby never talks about it, UCN babies don't talk about it, the plushies don't talk about it in Help Wanted, or herself in Help Wanted. It's so weird. If she's so proud of the skill, it should be more part of her character than it is. And that's what's the first clue that something's wrong. Not many people know this, but hidden in the game files of Central Location, there are several Easter egg blueprints that talk about all the special features that the Central Location crew have, such as what they were talking about at the start of the game with William talking to the random employee we don't know. It's all pretty innocent stuff, relatively. Stuff like, a storage facility for cakes, and good fumes coming out of the animatronics for, pleasant scenting, ice cream making, air hoses, music, yada yada. Just stuff like mimicking voices and parental voice sync. Funtime Foxy has the power to take voices and use them as she pleases. He can sync his voice to anything he hears. Now listen back to night 4, and how Baby says, "I kidnapped you." But she didn't. She couldn't. Physically, there's no way for her to get back to the Funtime auditorium. I mean, there's fence there. They're in her way. She's locked in her own room. Ballora maybe could, because she was brought into that room, but the engineers were there, so they would have saw her or said something or done something. But Baby, no matter what, couldn't. Funtime Freddy maybe could, but he's deactivated. We just turned him off. But you know who absolutely could kidnap you and hide you in a springlock suit? Funtime Foxy. Funtime Foxy kidnapped you and used her voice sync to convince you that he was actually Baby, mimicking her voice to help get you to trust her so she could lead you into the trap at the end of the game. This actually shows a lot of coordination between the characters we didn't know about, using the limitations to their advantage. This also explains why only this Baby praises and talks about pretending so much. It's not Baby, it's someone pretending to be her. That's why they love this skill so much. It also explains why Baby acts differently here. Foxy doesn't know who William is to Baby, so they're just going off of how Baby treats them, a mean-spirited bully who talks down to them. That's all they know Baby as. Furthermore, we also know that the night 5 Baby talking is also Funtime Foxy mixed with Ballora. How do we know this? Well, it's objectively shown to us. Zoom in on Ballora's model behind Baby, and we can see a yellow eye. So what's standing in front of us then? If this is not the real baby and this is Funtime Foxy pretending to be her, well, I think it's just random parts that couldn't fit in Ennard when they wanted to merge with Michael or climb inside Michael, that they just stuffed here to keep up their illusion and plan. Convince Michael, or what they think is William, that baby is trying to help them and escape and do all this cool stuff. In reality, they just have the other half of Ennard setting up all the scooper and all that so they can kill him. But that's all there is, right? Funtime Foxy's just helping their buddies get free and get revenge on William, right?
Did you ever see Foxy the Pirate? Flash your light at him from time to time? Did Foxy ever appear in the hallway? Like I said, he was always my favorite. Location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures.
No, it can't be. I mean, he's a human, right? He dies, right? He's just some guy, right? Wrong. Phone Guy is a fabricated employee made up by William, who is testing the limits of what he can force animatronics to do and how they can behave. Why do you think William was renting all of these characters out instead of just keeping them on the surface? It's because he already got the spirits he needed for them. He just needed to see how the spirits work, to see what he can get them to do and how he can control them. If he's renting them out, then they don't have to be on stage all the time. He can study them, tamper with them, and make them do whatever he wants. And it's perfectly legal and justified, and the company has an excuse for why the circus animatronics aren't on stage performing all the time. And what better way to experiment on them than making them do what he wants? William is established to be a control freak. We know this for a fact. He has cameras everywhere, he's always watching his kids, and he gets very angry when any kid steps out of line. He wants everything to be his way, so him wanting to control the animatronics makes sense. But more importantly, as is proven by security breach with robot, he wants his son to live again. If he can make an animatronic be everything he wants, he can make an animatronic his son. All of this is just part of his efforts to make Crying Child whole again, to put him back together. And what's even more put together is our sponsor, Neon Dynamo. My talented team of mediocre comic artists that I see in the mirror every morning is hard at work on a webcomic that's been out for years. Please read it. This is what I've been doing. This is what most of my time and effort goes to. Please read it. It's called Neon Dynamo. TheNeonDynamo.thecomicseries.com. So what does Phone Guy have to do with any of this? Everything. What does Foxy put you in? A springlock suit, thing that he says was from her old pizzeria. What does Phone Guy train people to wear? A springlock suit. Also compare Phone Guy to most other characters that are over the phone kind of characters. Hand Unit's pretty clear, Phone Dude's relatively clear, Tape Girl's pretty clear. But Phone Guy is noticeably distorted despite supposedly being a human character. That's because he's a robot voice mimicking a real one. I mean, listen to Funtime Foxy's actual voice and Phone Guy's voice side by side.
Seems you couldn't make it to my show.
Location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures.
They're so similar, right? And who does Phone Guy say is his favorite character? Foxy. But more importantly, it solves one of the biggest plot holes with Phone Guy's character. How he's everywhere, why it's always this same voice. But more importantly, what his role in the company is. I mean, think about it. What does Phone Guy do? He's been in the company long enough to train people how to use springlock suits, and yet he's demoted to being a night guard by the year 2003? That just doesn't make sense. How is he important enough to give memos and instruct night guards on when they do and what they do, but still not important enough to not be a night guard? It just doesn't add up. Not to mention, despite training people how to use the suits, he still calls Springtrap's suit just a yellow one on night 6 of Fnaf 2, as if he didn't know what it was. I think this is just an example of Scott Clawthorne doing what he does best, taking an old element that he was just kind of ambiguously using and turning it into something big and new. What was once a plot hole of why are there so many people that have the same voice but don't have overlapping traits, now becomes an important plot point of this manufactured employee who is killed off mysteriously by animatronics in a way that no one else had, really, up to this point. But it explains where he goes when anyone asks, hey, what about that guy on the phone? Where did he go? You notice how he never says his own name. He never says, I'm Fritz, I'm Jeremy, I'm Mike, I'm Billy Bob Joseph Jr. Never says anything like that, because he's not real. He's a fox being controlled by an immortal man trying to recreate his child. It all just makes sense. But you know what the saddest part is? Well, there's not that much proof for it, to be honest. I think we can safely say that the voice he's mimicking has to be a parent. And what parent do we know Funtime Foxy probably heard? The parent he had to lure the kid away from. So whoever possesses Funtime Foxy's dad is probably the voice that Phone Guy ends up using. It's the last memory of the kid's time alive that becomes Funtime Foxy. That's it, right? That's all of it. And now we can't do this bit twice, right? Right?
You think it's a mask? It reminds you of a mask? Like a disguise? Yeah, I can see that. You like the idea of being disguised? Disguises let you be sort of invisible, don't they? You can get away with almost anything when you're invisible, can't you?
Oh my god. But for now, that's just another squawking video. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for joining me through this madness. I might make a part 2 if people are genuinely interested. I really don't want to do other takes of this because that voice is going to kill me, so maybe we'll make up a new voice if I do a part 2. I'm sort of realizing that this might be construed as a game theory parody, which I just want to do a theory parody in general. It's kind of hard to not do it without referencing the original a little. I don't even know what voice I don't know what voice I ended up doing. I'm Nagito Chimera! Look, it's the ultimate hope Charlotte versus the ultimate evil William! The voice I kind of ended up doing. I don't know where that came from. This is just me having fun with what's the most absurd theory I can make based on some level of logic, even if it's absurd and stupid. Hope you had fun with it. Bye. Now listen back to night 4. I'm just descending into Joey Drew.